Welcome back to the mess of all messes.
Seriously, like, what the hell with that localization square?
Oh, look, Jova, Bathysphere.
Jova, forget localization. What's up with this whole development history?
What's the deal with...
Exactly, what's the deal with Square Enix's development policies?
Oh, look to you, it takes us to...
Sheep,
Oh, this part.
Look at them, Shiroi, them sheepies. Aren't they
so,
cute?
Sure, you like... Oh,
by the way, here's our first rendition of the Chocobo theme of this game.
Yes, of all the 4 iconic Final Fantasy pieces of music, this is the one that actually does make an appearance in this game.
I don't mind, and honestly, I heard worse Chocobo themes. And you know what I'm talking about.
We will get a worse one.
I don't particularly care about the one in 10, to be honest. As I mentioned, when it comes to the soundtrack of that game, this clearly fits the more modern kind of, cyberpunk setting that it's supposed to be. Because again, this is supposed to be, theme park, so it's fine. And we do get a proper, more traditional instrument Chocobo theme later on in the game, anyway. So it's fair for everyone. Also,
look at those cute little sheep robots.
Are they supposed to be robots?
Actual sheep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pedro?
What? Sorry?
Are those sheep actual sheep or are they robots?
I don't think it's specifically mentioned, but considering it's mentioned instead that, Cocoon drags a lot of resources from Pulse, including monsters, in order to use them for their robotization program. It would consider these are actually Pulse monsters. I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that they just get, tossed here for entertainment value. It's a way to make the world more organic in a way.
Basically. So yeah, the idea here is that we're supposed to basically enjoy ourselves a bit in Nautilus Park because, again, Vanille wants to basically once again completely ignore the fact that she ruined everybody's lives, so we're just going to be here and do things. And yeah, as for the sheep, we'll have a more sheep-dedicated cutscene later in Pulse, so we can talk about that later.
So, why is... Yeah, reminder, when they were in the forest, Vanille was trying to urge Sazh, have hope that he would see his son again. So, what exactly are they doing wasting their time in Nautilus?
Again, Jova, at some point in the script, at some point in the script it says that they chill out in a theme park.
Again, in general, again... Oh, sorry.
Again! I get it. Okay, I do wonder if at some point people...
okay, this is what the game passes for a minigame. Find the Chocobo chick.
It's dumb, wow. It's dumb, it's not fun, and...
This is not a minigame.
No.
It's really not a minigame.
I refuse to call it a minigame. This isn't... That's an insult. Calling this a minigame is an insult to minigames.
But isn't it so quirky and charming and fun?
Wait, so what's actually happening?
No, it isn't, Joe. No.
Yeah,
you will see. Look at them. Sheep.
That's the thing, Shiroi. Those are not typical sheep. They have very... Yeah, right there.
They're like pom-poms. Like...
they look like they have duck bills. Like, it's just...
What kind of cross-animal breeding have you been doing here?
But don't you see, Shiroi? Those are not... These are sheep in this fictional universe. They're different.
They're all secretly Perry the Platypus.
Yes.
I was gonna say, maybe somebody was just really a fan of Avatar The Last Airbender and decided to make duck sheep.
Also, we do have one of the voice actors from Phineas and Ferb here, why not?
Yeah. To answer your question, Jova, remember, development, probably at some point this theme park was going to have probably a better, more useful...
There is a piece of concept art that shows the entire party here, so I was complimenting it, whatever.
Yeah, the basic point is, originally at some point this theme park was probably going to have more of a useful purpose, but whatever that purpose was got lost in the midst of all the script changes.
Anyway, what were you saying to you?
I already said it, don't worry.
But honestly, now that I know what I know about how the story and localization went, I wonder if in the localization, some people thought it was supposed to be a twist that Vanille was from Pulse, while others thought, oh no, we're supposed to blatantly know that she's from Pulse. Because I swear, it feels like half of the time the game is trying to build up to a twist of Vanille being a Pulse citizen, while other cutscenes practically jump out of their skin spoiling it.
Basically.
And
Pedro,
given what we know,
Pedro, are you having a Dean Takahashi moment?
Yes, I am.
now?
I'm probably having. The reason I'm having a Dean Takahashi moment, too, is because, to be perfectly honest with you, I hate this minigame. I hate doing it, and every time I do it, I always forget where the Chocobo chick is. But don't worry, I just found it.
What do you
Yeah,
mean by a
because
Dean
the-
Takahashi moment?
You don't know the guy who couldn't get past the tutorial in Cuphead, Jova.
Yeah, you probably saw that video. It's so infamous.
Oh,
Gaming
that
journalism,
video.
everyone.
See, the thing is,
Oh.
the thing is, too. Every time I get to this minigame, I groan so much that half my brain turns off. It's just, I hate this.
More of a case of the cutscene literally tells you where the Chocobo chick, goes.
I know. It's just that. I don't want to do this. I just want to move on. To be honest with you, this is
He
literally.
just wants to be free.
Yeah, this is literally the game stopping for a full 5 minutes just to pat the game just a little bit more. You know what would be fun? You know, if you wanted to pad out the game, you know what you could have done? Have some kind of a real minigame of sorts, like a bike minigame. I don't know,
Or a Chocobo racing minigame.
like anything.
I mean, and mind you, this is supposed to be the downtime, the supposed happy fun time before things get heavy again.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it just feels like busy work at best. What were you saying to you?
Like, Sadi's supposed to have guns, so why couldn't you implement some kind of shooting gallery minigame?
Exactly, there's another thing you could have done. Instead, no, we just play tag with this Chocobo. Oh, whoa,
Yeah.
Jesus
And
Christ.
you gain a treasure Kingdom Hearts style, just plopping it down like that.
Okay, to be fair, Teo, this is something that Dragon Quest started. This is just a JRPG thing more than anything.
True, that is true. Although, again, for the context of this game alone, it's kind of like the first time it has happened.
It's
and the
weird,
characters
though,
react
like-
to the universe.
Yeah, true. I was about to say, this is the first time the characters in this universe have reacted to something like that. Like, was that supposed to be a comedic moment, or...
Probably,
Probably, considering how the game treats Sazh.
Again, it's weird, because more often than not, the game is very serious despite weird moments.
Alright, and now we're going to have a more emotional scene, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Spotted the gang already.
Always good to be among friends.
The fun times are double.
It's always good to be among friends. I wish I had friends.
And nothing ever seems as scary when you have someone to share it with.
Oh, what a happy time. Sure, it'd be a shame if something were to ruin this all.
Also, I feel pity for anyone who works at this place because chocobos are notorious for stinking.
Yep. Well, they're basically giant chickens. So.
Ash shot with a chocobo! At this point, Toriyama knows it's just a parody of itself.
Now, when I see
Cool.
Dajh,
I
tell him about the chocobos.
You get a butt shot. You get a butt shot. Everybody gets a butt shot.
He's being
Wiggle, wiggle.
Equality for the masses!
So there you go.
You mean?
Yeah, since he's a cocoon with C. They're running tests. They're trying to figure out his focus.
I would like to know what kind of tests could help you figure out a focus, but okay.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
know they
How do you even
exercise.
test that?
Hey, they're not total monsters.
I'm not entirely sure that's correct.
Says it's a society that literally hunts people down. Says, did you forget the Purge? They were literally sending out innocent citizens whether or not they knew they were Lassie to their deaths.
I want you to worry.
So where the hell is Sazh getting off saying they're not monsters? Hell, Sazh was literally criticizing them for the Purge earlier. Is this another case of the localization team not getting to see that previous scene and they think,
Probably.
oh, Sazh will be more level-headed?
Yeah,
because they wouldn't be
yes,
believe so.
yes, Jova. Now that I've told you about the development of this game, suddenly all of this makes more sense, doesn't it?
What about
Oh,
in a weird, twisted way.
For someone from Pulse. You can't give up without getting revenge.
Oh, so you want? So you
Try
want?
and use.
Ah, yes, of course. Revenge, the most worthless of causes.
The accident at Uriday.
Then tell me.
I love how Sazh doesn't even.
Yeah.
I love how Sazh doesn't even question her. Wait, how do you know that?
Was
It was.
Chocobos.
want to know how to get a
Yeah,
TVS.
it was those.
Convenient interruption.
It was those chocobos that did it.
Not even comedic.
Yeah, gee, Sazh, maybe you should have kept your fucking Lassie brand out of view. Just saying. Okay, I know you want to rant about how this is completely butt fucking stupid as an homage to Magus's Castle, so go ahead.
Well, actually no, but I more actually elaborate because of what we discussed it also off commentary. Again, this particular section, let me also preface this. This particular section is basically also gonna be your one way to grind in this section for Sazh and Vanille. And let me warn you, you're having a particularly difficult boss fight ahead of you in this section. So if you're not careful with your equipment, the items that you have, the guild that you have, and how much you grinded, you can potentially soft lock yourself with this part of the game if you're not careful.
Now, I know what some audience may be thinking, but Squirm, why don't you just grind prior? Remember one thing we mentioned earlier. The chapters come with level caps. So even if you tried to grind with Sazh and Vanille earlier in the junkyard, too bad. You gotta level up some more here if you don't want to have a really bad time with the upcoming boss
If I recall
fight.
correctly, you can conserve Crystallium points and just wait until your level cap is lifted. I didn't try it. But if I recall correctly, you can, and Pedro showcased that it is possible in some kind of fashion. But let me also mention this. Yes, the final portion of this particular part of Nautilus is going to be a Haunted Mansion equivalent, which shares the name with a location in Chrono Trigger, Magus's Castle. I forgot the Fiend's Keep. There you go, that's what it's called.
Fiend's Keep.
Originally, during original running for a very long while, I thought that what they meant was also the appearance was supposed to be, and thus I was at the very least confused because it really doesn't represent it at all. But basically, at the end of the day, it seems to be just in name only, and with that, I don't really have a problem. Like, sure, you can say, oh, it's attached to a bad game, so it's a waste of a reference and everything. But to be honest, I've heard and seen worse kind of referencing previous stuff in bad games. So this is harmless at worst to me.
Sure.
So, I know that we're still in the theme park, but the music sounds weirdly upbeat for what's supposed to be a more...
That's because they're trying Sazh and Vanille are trying their mad dash, at escaping the Psychon troops.
It ties back to what I was saying to Shiro about the music earlier, Jove. I genuinely suspect that because the final game was basically crunched over into being made in the final year and a half of development, I get the feeling Amazo composed the main theme and not much else, and by the time it got around to needing more music, it was probably too late, and that's why this game reuses the main theme so much, and that's probably also why, because there are certain tracks that don't fit, because probably they just couldn't afford to have Amazo compose more fitting tracks, so they had to use what they had at this point, probably.
Bobby, to be fair, games that use their main theme a lot are really common.
Oh, I get that. I
There's nothing wrong for using the main theme glyphs. It's like, well, me and Shiro's point was more so about they used it in parts where the song tracks didn't make sense. Like, okay, a recurring theme is not a problem. It's using it in the right areas, per se. Like, okay, Dwibs, what's a soundtrack you really like?
Game-wise.
I'll give one. Final Fantasy IX.
Okay. So let's say for Final Fantasy IX, suddenly the final boss scene was played during a comedic scene. Wouldn't make sense now, would it?
No, it would not.
Well, I mean, there are people. I mean, there are times where you could alter themes to to fit different contexts.
No.
Like take it. Like take
no,
Star Wars.
Trip.
I haven't finished my point yet.
I know, but you're misunderstanding what I was saying. I'm talking about, let's say specifically, no altering whatsoever. It's legit just the very serious final boss scene. Put in a moment that's
Hold on, guys, I'm gonna have
comedic, and it does not fit.
Hold on, guys, I'm gonna have to interrupt you guys because
Yeah,
important.
this is an important moment for Sazh as a whole.
Daddy, got you.
This has to be a
Why are you
hologram.
here?
Because you promised.
It's actually the real Dajh, actually.
But how did you get here?
God, that kid is hideous looking.
Uncanny Valley to the
render.
max.
And guess what?
And Dajh can fulfill this focus.
Oh, I thought it was a hologram.
But it doesn't turn into a crystal statue, but it's just encased? Is that what happens to Cocoonlessy, I guess?
Maybe.
It's not clear.
Jihl, it's all falsy smoke and mirrors, don't you know?
I actually have the wiki on the other tab, let me check.
So we literally had an apparent comedic scene followed up with an incredibly downer scene.
Undesirables.
I don't know, Jihl, but maybe the intervening scenes in between these two got cut at some point, probably.
Possibly. Anyway, this is Jihl Nabaath.
She's not
Remember
important.
that woman?
She much like Agrosh, she's not important. Don't worry about her.
Oh, that's the thing, though. The game actually does try to build her up as someone important. The payoff is incredibly
I think I
disappointing.
did mention who is our voice actress, I think.
I don't know.
Whatever, I can mention later.
Apparently, Dodge's focus was the very, very specific task of find his father.
And speaking of
Wait, but when he got turned into a LSE, he was already next to his father. Well, this plot makes no sense. In the meantime, guess what? Jihl Nabaath breaks the deal and actually tells Sazh who are the two LSE that ruined his life. Yes, that would be Vanille and Fang, like we've already said.
the pictures of
Because again, remember, because Fang and Vanille didn't properly fulfill their focus as intended, the Falsey had no choice but to find other people to make into LSE. And
I wouldn't say it's grainy at all.
it's more. It's called interference whips. But anyway,
keep your chin up.
yeah, because again, the Falsey had to basically make another LSE to do their dirty work because Vanille wouldn't do anything. So yeah,
Well, that's the
Dajh.
thing, though. That's the thing, though. It was a cocoon falsy that, marked
Branded.
Dajh. Yeah, branded Dajh. So, in that case, wouldn't this imply that the falsy that was ordering these two about was a cocoon one, even though...
Oh yeah,
they're
you're right.
false?
Never mind. Jov is right. Now, what I mean, Jov, is that the cocoon Falsey had to protect himself somehow, so he had to make a LSE for that purpose. And there you go. There was our LSE.
Yeah. So his plan was, I'm gonna make a little kid LSE. He'll stand up great against two adult, experienced...
I'm a Falsey, and I'm mysterious, and I work in mysterious ways.
I thought the twist was going to be that the footage she's showing him was edited so that they're saying something different.
No, it's
Something.
it's actually 100% true. Vanille ruined Saz's life, basically. So yeah, like she was about to say, yeah. So Vanille, you still stand by what you said before? Sazh should get revenge?
That young lady's terrorist assault at Uriday Gorge is the reason Dajh was made a LSE. Ironic, isn't it? The very good
You don't get
Yes.
to Star Wars like
Yeah,
that.
yes, very good game. Very good game. Spell out the emotional subtext of this scene because we're stupid and we can't figure that out on our own. So
Also, yeah, Jill's just being a dick. Like, she could have easily have told him this at any point before.
Anyway, there you go. Hold on. Actually, wait.
Oh, honestly, if he had known this before, Sazh might have actually have shot Vanille the first time they ever met.
Jill
So,
wants to at least pretend to be sadistic, so she's allowing Sazh to finish the job, so to speak.
why? I don't really know.
Again, supposedly she wants to be sadistic. And also, she removes and puts her glasses constantly.
I mean, those things
foggy.
need cleaning every so often.
Yeah,
suppose.
they get foggy.
There we go. Like that. She had no reason to remove them in that cutscene.
It's to show what she looks like without the glasses.
Anyway, she's voiced by Paula Tiso, who is the voice actress also for Lulu in Final Fantasy X, among many other roles. Okay, this is the point that I mentioned. If you haven't grinded enough until this point, this is potentially the point where you can soft-lock yourself, because there is, if I calculate, there is a save point before this very important cutscene, so you might be at least invited to save your file. So again, a player that is not too super careful can potentially soft-lock themselves, because I can assure you, what's about to come can be genuinely brutal. I'm sure between the easy mode and the grind, it's not gonna be looked at much in this footage, but trust me, it's another story.
Keep in mind, think about this from the perspective of somebody who was playing this blind when this game first came out, and there was no easy mode.
So just okay.
Like, we've got.
It's like okay. I will explain more about. Here's what you again. Honestly, Teo, here's the basic thing. Like, the best way to go about the upcoming boss battle is to basically take good advantage of the the Tide Turner paradigm. Basically, buff yourself up while debuffing, and then for a bit, and then just wail on the boss until. And you'll eventually get it.
Well, again, I'll mention when the fight starts, but also I checked in the meantime, and yes, the whole crystallization being different seems to be an exclusive depending on, the type of LC. It's connected to the lore at large, so I'll have to wait until explaining also that droid.
Not explained in the story itself, but I guess, to be fair, that's one of the smaller details.
Alright, so the last time I brought up a string of jokes, however, I decided to mix it up this time with something else. Let's check
Sure.
Let's take a look at it.
What was waiting wasn't something I could change.
Also, I forgot about this bit.
You are
Yeah, for some reason, the haunted house is projecting an hologram of Sazh. I get the idea it's a case of both. This haunted house projects your current fears, and in this case, it's Sazh being angry there.
Not gonna lie, that seems like something that would get a lot of customer complaints.
It could be an interesting concept, especially for a futuristic world like this, but you can tell that this is a moment that just shows to exploit the emotional value of the moment and nothing more.
Made you look.
Living with guilt? Then die with it.
Get what they're trying to go with this scene, but this just seems... How do I put it?
Contrived. Unearned.
Yes.
Unearned.
Honestly, given the characterization they're going with for Vanille, she should have told Sazh.
Okay, hold on, this is important. Watch carefully, Dweebs, particularly Sazh's emotions. Yes. Well, close enough. Go ahead.
Shoot me!
I don't have any alcohol.
Me!
Don't you even?
How do you even?
You think you die, and that's that? You think you die and everything will be sugar and rainbows?
I don't think she was implying that.
Let me think. Yes, it would.
What do you want from me?
To us, Pedro, but to him, the suffering continues.
Don't ask me.
God, this is so melodramatic.
See, don't you see? It shows that the real Sazh doesn't just want to kill Vanille, even though he's holding his gun out at her like he wants to kill her. What?
No, but he says now. Hold on.
It's theatrics. Shush.
Pretty much.
It's over. There's nothing to do.
You know, given that Vanille knows what Fang knows, she should have told Sazh that as well.
This will also be a good moment in a sense that Sazh and the others anybody realize that they cannot just run away forever. But again, more important things at hand because Sazh Eidolon decides to show up, and admittedly this is a very good moment for it. So it's Fire Themed, so it's Ifrit, right? No, we have a new entry in this case, Brynhildr? Okay, sure. It's a cool design,
girl, how
I
you
suppose.
doing? Which is weird. Isn't Brynhildr normally associated with ice instead of fire?
Not an entry in this series until this point.
Well, I'm talking about the actual character Brynhildr, so you know...
He's normally not associated with ice either, Jova.
Alright then, Fair Beans.
So yeah, more important matters at end. Defeat the Eidolon first.
That
Fair
said,
enough.
though, there's a funny thing that you pointed out that happens after the boss is done.
Yeah. No, don't worry, I'm on it.
So now,
And arguably, this is honestly the most challenging of all the Eidolon boss fights, because again, like I mentioned, it catches you almost completely off guard. And sure, what Pedro says is important. This Eidolon rewards you for using Sazh's primarily role, Synergist and Commando, essentially. However, again, this is also the Eidolon that arguably at this point of the game, balancing it all, dishes out the most damage. Remember, you're not just supposed to feel the condition of Eidolon, you also have to resist their attacks. And sure, Vanille is your primary medic, but you're essentially thrown in this frantic situation with the Doom counter on your head, and you have to frankly trying to know what to do, you know, and combining all factors, these easily can net your game over. But this is the most important waves. So, first of all, the Eidolon transforms into a car, a muscle.
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
And now, Dweebs, pay very close attention to Sazh. Yeah, he seems to be very happy-go-lucky in actually having acquired this new transformation. And to boot, like in all of Eidolon fights, our party gets a particular reward. Not only to summon the Brilliant, but Sazh gains a new ATB segment, meaning it's going to be useful for the gameplay. So, cutscene-wise, what's going to happen after that?
what's this? So yeah, Sazh should be feeling better now, right? Well,
Please, shooter. Please.
I also like the music for this segment.
This can be excused.
Yeah, this is one of them. Go ahead.
Shooting kids.
She's 19.
Remember, Dweebs, it's because Sazh is too old. Ha 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 ha. Hold on.
and
This line.
Kindness like his.
More like
and the chocobo chick is still in this cutscene, which kind of ruins some of the tone. I'm gonna be honest.
more like gullibility. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Enough.
Says you cannot get out of the game now, please.
Sazh, you're the best character. No.
So, okay, Dweebs, do you actually believe that Sazh just committed suicide?
Probably not.
Again, Dweebs, I would like to remind you, gameplay-wise, Sazh just received a permanent buff to his moves.
Sephiroth? Oh.
No.
Yeah, she kind of looks like Sephiroth too. Like, the game really likes to have them Sephiroth lookalikes,
yeah,
but no,
the game
Sazh is
seriously
apparently
presents-
dead now.
Yeah, and again, there's this huge gameplay and story segregation moment.
Joe,
It's so...
That being said, Teo, I have another question.
Yeah.
Chrissy, too,
Why
maybe they-
why is Vanille wearing that robe all of a sudden now?
They've been given to her by Jihl and the others.
Okay, but for what purpose though?
Again, it's the one
Because
that the
she's a
Sanctum
Lassie,
uses
they have to hide
brand.
themselves.
Yeah, that too. Well, not to hide,
Shame.
but more to identify them.
I guess,
Same.
but she's about to get into the ship though. I don't think anybody would.
Okay.
Whatever.
I can't help but wonder to you if the game was trying to get us to think that they're pulling an Aerith with this, like the unexpected death of a party member.
Also, okay, I might elaborate to, either when we get to the data log beat or at the end of the part, because there's another bit that needs to be discussed.
Hey, Teo,
Just keep that in the back of your brain for the time being.
Hey Teo, I just thought of something.
What?
Maybe at some point in the story, Sazh was supposed to actually die here, but that got changed. But they didn't actually change that scene to accommodate.
I severely doubt. I do have a personal view. I think I might have mentioned in the original round, but it will mention when we reprise back the action with Vanille eventually.
But it is a possibility, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. To be honest with you.
Also, the Lindblom looks so phallic. Actually, no, that's the Palamisia, sorry. Still.
The
very-
Lindblom Sanctum
Yeah, the
Guardian
Lind-
Core.
We've already been here with Snow for a bit, but yeah, basically the rest of the party has been kindly invited by Sid onto this.
So what's with the freak
It's-
show? So the Primarch
Oh, for a second I thought someone was playing the Price is Right theme in the background.
You already mentioned that.
execution as the climax.
Did?
Yeah.
Yes.
The people will cheer their demise, and Foul Sea Dominion will be undisputed.
All part of the plan.
Yes.
Wait a minute. A segment where some of our friends may be put through a public execution and we have to rescue them. I recall that also happening in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
A few more of these and I get bingo.
They're baiting us, trying to draw us out.
No, it'd be called Shenra, Jonah.
Yeah, that's right. Here are your friends.
So there you go. Yeah, they're basically using Sazh and Vanille as bait to attract them. And so
So what
once
are we gonna do? We're going to
falling,
take the bait.
take the bait and fall incredibly into their trap.
Remember, Jova, heroes don't need plans.
No, It's like Lightning says in the climax of this game later. Like, what's the plan? Your usual plan. Charge in for the front door. What else?
So at this point, Jihl, everyone's in on that mindset now.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I can understand. See the idea. On paper, I understand the idea of that. Don't worry, he's not saying anything all that interesting.
Okay, to be fair, Sid does mention that they do have a plan here. They'll use the Limblom as a distraction while the main party sneaks in. So
Well, Jova, if you forgot,
See-
the moment the party will board, they will be identified immediately.
See, here's the thing, Jova. Yes, Sid is right now telling us what's the supposed plan. The problem is that doesn't reflect into the gameplay when you're actually there. When you're actually there on the gameplay part, you're just fighting monsters until you find them. That's all you're doing, really. So,
gameplay story segregation, how classic.
More on that and news at 11 and 12.
exactly. see, the thing is, okay. See, here's the thing. On paper, I understand that mentality. You know, like, for a long time, they've been berating Snow because of that stupid plan thingy, you know. And then that line with Lightning at the end tail, on paper, is supposed to be her more so, like, not so much that she means it literally, more so that she's just kind of, you know, doing banter with him. Banter with him. Like, it's like your usual plan, because she says it in a sarcastic voice when she says that, to be fair. So you're not meant to take that at face value. The problem is that, again, the game doesn't earn this because it didn't really create proper character development that could lead to something like that.
Honestly, now this really... knowing what we know about the development, I can't help but really wonder if Lightning was actually supposed to have a better development and not come off as such a douche in the party scene either.
That too, Jova, and let's not also forget the big problem with the localization as well, where...
Again, like...
no. Aside from the translation, to be fair, that
They
doesn't.
might as well be on different islands when it comes to the localization, it seems.
Sure, Sazh loses his will to go on. Yeah, sure, game, sure. Anyway, sure. See, the thing is.
So no, go on, no.
See, the thing is, Jova. One of the big problems with localization, aside from the translation, is the voice directions on some of the characters, specifically Lightning. Because if you take, like I said, if you hear Lightning's Japanese voice, she sounds way more emotive and sympathetic compared to how Ali Hillis was directed to sound. You know, so a lot of times, combined with the crappy translation, you know, or not as a fault of the localizers, I want to, announce that. Combining the crappy localization with the questionable decisions on voice direction. Whatever the Japanese original intent for this character by Toriyama when he conceived her in 2006 was completely lost by the time we finally got this Western version. But we have here,
just like with Final Fantasy VIII, they had to be okay with this. So,
Yeah.
as far as the Japanese side were concerned, no,
Exactly.
great job.
oh sure. That, trust me, I'm not in any way trying to absolve anybody of anything. Like, it's everybody's fault.
That's right over N.
Oh, that game is its own can of worms. I don't want to. I don't want to get.
One mess at a time.
Yeah, one mess at a time, Dwebs. I already have enough on my plate trying to explain this one. So, curses her sister with the fate of Velocity. Lightning's frustration leads her to declare war against the Sanctum. She eventually sees her actions for what they are and escaped from reality. See, there you go, Joe. But that was what we were supposed to take
Was
from.
that so hard, story? Maybe you could have actually properly have conveyed that.
Yeah. Well, that's what the dialogue is, Joe, but to spell things out for you. We can't actually tell a story, so we have to give out flyers to the audience. Excuse me.
Again,
Excuse me.
I'm not reading any of that.
Excuse me, Miss Phillips. See, if you want to understand the plot, here. Read this. Here's the flyer for the story. Like,
You gotta make me care about it first. That's
You know, I love how 1/3 of Hope's profile is literally him making amends with his father, even though that happened in like the span of a few minutes.
Bartholomew is Hope's father, but has difficulties relating to his teenage. He does. He didn't really come across like that. Though deeply upset by his wife's death, he sees how much Hope has grown during the subsequent events and encourages him to find his own path and make his own decisions. Now wanted by the Sanctum for his actions in aiding Pulse to Sea, Bartholomew is currently under the protection of the cavalry, aka he boarded this ship.
Nice to know.
And he will be abandoned for the rest of the trilogy. See ya.
That said, though, is it weird, Pedro, that out of all the characters, I think Hope's really the only one who doesn't get any proper focus in any of these past days cutscenes. Like, oh sure, we see him and his mother show up in one, but there's no focus on him and his past life before it. Mm-hmm. And he's like the only character who doesn't get a proper...
Like I said, most of that happens actually in a novel, actually.
But yeah, that's the primary reason why the dialogue in this game, the English script specifically, is so bad. Because whatever was the original intent has been completely lost because of the way that the localizers were basically caught between a rock and a hard place. Combined with the fact that the Japanese script changed multiple times as well. Yeah, whatever Toriyama originally intended for Lightning as a character, Jova, got completely lost over the course of the development.
Could this mean that the original Japanese script that Toriyama wrote for Lightning might actually be good?
Possibly, but we don't know, because the script was changed so often throughout development that whatever was the original idea, only Toriyama knows. And as far as I know, there's never been an interview where he actually says what was the original intent. Remember, Joe, when he was asked years later what is his favorite Final Fantasy, he said for this one because Lightning. So as far as he's concerned, Lightning is still awesome. So
far be it for me to
that's his wife.
Far be it for me to try and absolve him of the blame, but I do wonder if and this is a big if this might be on a similar wavelength to how Squall really got screwed over by the localization. Mind you, unlike 8, which, I at least have a clear idea of what Squall was originally like, I don't know exactly what Lightning was supposedly originally like. For all I know, the localization actually got it right somehow outside of the voice acting, so...
That actually is correct, Jova, because one of the primary complaints people who play the Japanese version have is the way Lightning is written in the English script, because a lot of people... Brando himself said this, and me and Teo saw it as well. People who are familiar with the Japanese script, they've said various times over the years, no, Lightning was completely screwed over in the localized version, they say. So yeah, it is a Squall situation, apparently. I don't know, because I have yet to see a proper...
Also, Lightning, regardless of what Toriyama thinks, Lightning gets voted time and time again as one of the top, if not the top, female Final Fantasy character, like, constantly. It's kind of a situation similar to Yuri in the Tales of series.
Lightning kind of does have the advantage that she's like one of the few de facto leader characters who's female of the plot. Like, that's going to get you bonus points even if only because, it does help with representation. And as far as we've seen her and stuff outside the 13 trilogy, she can actually be good and awesome.
Yes.
So I'm not completely surprised that she's ranked as one of those.
That's because, Jova, the way she's written in Dissidia 012 and World of Final Fantasy is basically probably akin to what was the original idea. Probably. Again, I don't know.
So the type of characterization fits more that kind of setting. Lightning being rebellious against a deity and, what's the status quo established, and her trying to define fate.
Which makes me wonder, in that case, could Toriyama possibly have better writer than we thought? And again, this is not the localizer's fault, but could Square's haphazard approach to how they handle localization be the real culprit?
Allow me.
Factors, Joe, after all we know, but
okay, I do. One thing I will say, I I highly doubt that she's magically a better character in Japanese.
I can help you guys
agree
with
with that.
I can help you too with that.
Pedro?
I can help you, both of you, with that, Dwibs and Jova. All you have to do is look at 13.2, because according to fans, 13.2's localization is just fine. And yet and yet that game's writing is even worse than this one.
So basically, what you're saying is that Lightning goes from being pretty much a jerk ass to being boring. Because in 13.2, she has so little personality.
See, the thing is, well, that's more Lightning Returns, but yeah, the point is...
No. I mean, even in 13.2, what exactly is her personality outside of,
well,
I must protect the goddess?
That's the thing.
I think, Joel, that their presence is lacking.
In 13.2, she's more of a plot goal than an actual character. But anyway, the thing is, remember, according to fans who have played the Japanese versions and know Japanese, apparently 13.2 is the only one of the three which localization wasn't botched.
And it's still not it's still a fantastic job, I would argue. Again, some terms are still translated with weird liberties, like Sarah's ultimate technique.
And when it comes to the characters, most of them are pretty much the same as they were in 13. Like, Lightning's the only one who's noticeably different. And like I said, she feels just more so boring for the little screen time that she does have.
And even then, even most Japanese fans will even tell you that regardless of the terrible localization that Lightning Returns has, even if the localization was good, that game's plot would still be crap anyway. So that plot was crap from the get-go, apparently.
And in regards to the plot in general for 13, well, if the overall plot structure is generally the same, then while maybe Toriyama was a better writer with Lightning, he was still a bad story writer for when it comes to stuff like the villains' motivation, the story building, the lore, how the data log is handled, not to mention a few other details to come later down the road.
Forget that, Jova. How about writing any character that's not Lightning? Because when you go into 13.2 and we have Sarah, aka the plot device of this game, who's now suddenly we're supposed to carry as a protagonist, and she has all the personality of a plank of wood.
But Pedro, she's a scary teacher!
Yeah, and that part of her character is used once in one optional side quest with one cutscene for a stupid joke that's not even funny.
You know, honestly, this entire franchise really is just a bottomless hole.
It's a mess.
Worse and worse the more you find out about it.
No, it's a mess. I have yet to. The Final Fantasy. There's the Final Fantasy Lightning Returns retranslation project, but we haven't heard much from it lately. And there hasn't been any fan retranslations of either 13 or 13.2, so I have yet to know for myself how are the Japanese scripts. But again, considering what we know about the development of how the script, even that Japanese script, changed multiple times for development to accommodate for the changes in gameplay,
that one was probably still a mess over there, too.
I seriously doubt that the original Japanese script is this hidden masterpiece that people have yet to stumble upon, to be honest with you.
All right, the thing that I wanted to mention before.
Go on.
Okay, this is something that I need to ask to you, Jova, because personally I do believe it's something that it was a case where the developers just did not really thought this through. But to reiterate also, just to put things in perspective, we just had essentially an episode where what essentially is the heart of the team, Sazh and everything, as essentially sees everything crumbling around him as a depressing episode, and allegedly, at the very least for what the games showed us, commits suicide via headshot. The one black guy in the entire game.
Yeah. Okay, look. Okay. For Dwibs' sake, maybe we should, actually, no. Dwibs, do you buy this?
He already called.
He already said nah, so he doesn't buy it.
I know. Well, okay, I'm sorry to spoil it for anyone, but okay, let's assume they actually did go through with this. That would be an incredibly bad take. For one thing, even with the Japanese script in mind, most people still find Sazh to be the best character in the game. So even in the version where Lightning is apparently supposedly better than this version, Sazh is still considered the best character in the game.
Yep.
So you have the best character in the game killed, this far into the game, just prematurely, after getting his Eidolon, which actually has a pretty sweet car transformation where he looks happy as all heck, going to an incredibly depressing cutscene of him supposedly killing himself, which could have been prevented, mind you, if Vanille had told him, "Oh, by the way, it's actually possible that your son could be brought out of crystal form," if she wasn't, just so scared of her own responsibility. Screw you, Vanille. But, seriously, if they had actually gone through with that, story would have been dead. Because, mind you, not only would the best character have been dead, this would have shot the whole message of the story in, the head.
Defying fate. The core theme of this game is defying fate, and if that happened, not much of a fate defier, is it?
Again,
mind you, to paraphrase some Linkara, look, I get it. Sometimes you want a big twist or whatnot. But look, just because what you're doing is telegraphed does not always mean it's bad. Sometimes it can mean you're doing your job as a writer. People can tell where things are going. What matters is, again, how well you construct it here and there. So all I can get is a semblance that they wanted it to be a big twist that he's alive, seeing as how they went to the point of putting him in a flipping coffin.
Yeah.
An open one at that, mind you.
Yeah, a good example is when me and Dwebs watched Turning Red, Dwebs was very quick to immediately guess what was going to be the mom's character arc, and it went out just fine because it's well executed, so who cares?
But here,
I think I mentioned in the original commentary that the major problem stems here from the way the cutscenes are ordered. If they were ordered in a different way, and I will mention when it's more relevant, it probably could have worked just fine, actually. But again, my point is mostly about the potential tastelessness of the scene. But we already
is tasteless.
We already elongated this way more than it needs.
I just want to actually add on to what you and Jova were saying real quick. See, the thing is, while that in itself is also a big problem, honestly, by the time we get Lightning Returns, Dwebs, that's where I genuinely have to start wondering if Toriyama's racist. Because to give you Dwebs, you saw this Eidolon that we just saw, that we just unlocked, right? That belongs to Sazh, right? Guess what they do in Lightning Returns? In Lightning Returns, there's a point where they have this big climatic showdown where all the characters use their Eidolons to fight the big bad. And guess what? Sazh's Eidolon is not being commandeered by Sazh. It's being commandeered by a new character that gets introduced in 13.2, and Sazh isn't even present while the cool Kamehameha is being made.
It shows up later and he's like, "Oh, sorry, am I late for something?"
Okay. To say that's racist is a bit over the top.
The problem is just that Toriyama consistently dog sass.
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of factors, Dweebs.
Well, so the thing.
I'll be honest, it's been kind of dogging over every character in this game so far.
Oh, no, trust me. Sazh gets it worse as the trilogy progresses.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I think jumping straight to, he's racist is a bit silly and quite frankly a little dangerous.
To be fair, I wouldn't say Pedro was jumping to it. It's more like he suspected it. And again, I can't blame him. It feels like Toriyama legit hates Sazh and probably doesn't like the fact that people ended up liking Sazh better than Lightning.
I mean, it'd be like if I said, My Hero Academia's writer is sexist or something, because he can't write female characters that well. I mean, I don't think that's sexism. That's just he can't do it.
Okay, ignoring racism or whatnot, it does feel like Toriyama has it out for Sazh, though, given how Sazh does get the most poured on him.
Anyway, like Teo said, we've dragged this on too much at this point, so let's just tune in for the next part where we will, I guess, grieve the death of Sazh. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
See ya.
I'll go get the flowers.
See ya.
Yeah.